BBC London 94.9.
Good afternoon, London. I'm Robert Elms. I'm joined now by Rosa Roberts, who is herself a visual artist and art tutor, founder of Sketchout, and we'll find out more about that. And she's also written the book for the Big Painting Challenge, a practical guide to painting and drawing. The Big Painting Challenge is a new series presented by Eunice Stubbs and Richard Bacon. It begins next Sunday on BBC One. Anyway, Rosa's here with us now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Can most people, I was going to say can anybody paint, but I think I'm probably evidence that not anybody can. But do most people have an artistic talent that they perhaps haven't become aware of?
I think it's human nature to be creative.
I write, though. I'm a writer and always have been. I deal in words.
There you go. Everyone has their kind of particular area that appeals to them. Some people will be more visual, some people it will be words, some people it will be music.
Yeah.
No, not everyone can paint. That's
good. I'm glad you said that.
But I think everyone's creative, and I think that it comes naturally to most people to want to make something, to want to express themselves, to want to react to the world around them, or reflect on their inner world, their inner experience through creativity in some way.
Is it easier and better if you learn the basics earlier on, or can you come at it older and still do very well, do you think?
I think you can definitely come at it at any time, really. But like anything, if you want to be good at something, you have to put the hours in. Yeah. You know, it's like that thing.
Learning a musical instrument or a language.
It's like 10,000 hours. You have, if you really want to be able to manipulate paint, understand light and colour, and be able to actually have some kind of control over the materials that you're using, you have to put the time in. But that's not to say that someone can't really enjoy, working with paint or drawing or anything visual when they kind of come straight at it. It's a fun thing to do. Paint's squelchy and it's wet and it's it's nice. It's really tactile. It's really direct.
Because those are all the things that scare me. I like the world tidy and organised and neat, and I don't like doing things badly, and I don't like mistakes, and I don't like things going over. So I'm useless because the minute it runs, I don't even like running eggs on a plate. I'm scared of it.
I think there's something about painting and drawing, you do have to be kind of prepared to get a little bit dirty. But I'm quite a tidy, systematic person as well.
Because a lot of artists aren't, are they?
No,
I mean, I've seen artists work who are
not,
really
but I
messy.
think I think also a lot of artists are. I think that there is kind of, it could be a bit of a myth, possibly inspired by those pictures of like Francis Bacon's studio, which is just a catastrophe of paint and rags and everything like that. And some painters probably are like that, but I'm not. I'm quite systematic and organised. I have I clean up at the end of every day pretty neatly. I like things clean and crisp and bright and kind of organised. So
tell us about Sketchout.
Well, I set up Sketchout about 2.5 years ago. We run one-day drawing workshops in museums in London. So we work inside the V&A, the Tate Britain and the National Portrait Gallery. And we work from the collections of these museums.
So what, you sit in front of paintings or sculptures? Or
more
whatever?
Sculptures. Right. I always try and work from sculptures because, though you can work from another painting, it's better to work from something 3D because essentially if you're copying something flat, a lot of the work is done for you. Yeah. So if you want to learn how to see and how to draw really well, then you kind of need to work from objects as opposed to from pictures of objects, really. And we run about between kind of 2 and 4 classes every week. They're one-day workshops. We have sort of groups of 13 people. You go in, you have an introduction to the sort of fundamental thought processes that underpin good observational drawing.
Is it about learning to see?
Yes, it's all about learning to see, really. I mean, anyone can draw, anyone can put mark on paper.
But translating what you see onto a piece of paper is the bit that I can't do. I think with my glasses on, I'm fairly good at seeing.
Yeah. Well, you see, I know it's kind of confusing to think, well, I can see, why can't I draw, But I suppose the thing is that when you're drawing and you're looking critically, I call it kind of critical seeing, you're actually calculating spatial relationships between things. And there are ways of doing that which kind of don't really tend to get taught in schools, but probably could be taught a lot more to help people just spot the spatial relationships between things and understand what they're seeing in a way which they can then break it down and get it onto paper, really. And that's what we do at Sketchout.
And so when you're in a gallery, say you're in front of a dinosaur or you're in front of a statue or something, is it pencil on paper? Is it what are you working in?
We work in pencil on paper, graphite sticks. We also work with water-soluble pastels, water-soluble coloured pencils, and these things called water brushes, which are in the book. All of these materials are kind of broken down in the book. But water brushes is almost like a cross between a felt tip pen and a paintbrush that's filled with water. So it's got water inside it, which means that you can work over the top of your water-soluble colours and add water to them. So you can get quite a painterly effect, you can get quite a kind of watercolour effect, but it's kind of tidy because the water's contained within the brush. So you're not
splashing stuff.
Yeah, exactly, and spilling it on the ancient mosaic
which
floors.
Wouldn't make you very popular.
No, exactly. They're kind of outlaw us for that, I think. So we have to be careful and respectful, obviously, that we're working in these amazing places, and
Did you first approach them with this idea?
Well, actually, it started off with me working for a painting holiday company, and they wanted me to design a course in London. And I did design one, and I designed a course in the V&A, and we did a couple with them. And then I thought that I could take it on, really. So I started selling the one-day workshops and designed the website and everything, and just came up with this concept of kind of really trying to harness the wealth of artistic capital that we've got in this city, really.
Who does it? Is it young people, older people? Is it people from here, people from abroad?
We have people between the ages of about 10 and 80 probably coming on our courses, and they're mainly women. Right. They're probably 80%
Why is
women.
that, do you think?
I don't know. I've always wondered this, whether it's because women tend to be more into crafty type things, or whether it's just that women are more into taking instruction. I don't know.
Perhaps less scared of making fools of themselves.
Yeah, and I think that's a critical thing for art and creativity of any kind. You kind of have to be prepared to get things wrong and to
because I'm one of those classic blokes. I hate doing something I'm not good at, therefore I won't do it.
Yeah. And people, I think one of the things that really stops people from expressing themselves or learning to draw or whatever is just worrying about being bad at it and judging their output much too quickly. Do you progress quickly? Yes. Yeah. Really, really quickly. I mean, we teach just really simple thought processes that anyone who draws on a regular basis will use instinctively all the time, and they just really, really, really help. And it's about helping people to see where the lights, darks, and mediums are. So helping you to see shadows, pointing those things out that I'm looking for. You might be looking for where the lights, darks, and mediums are when you're painting something, which often kind of people haven't really thought of. But everyone can see shadows. Everyone can see light. It's just getting people into the habit of looking for those things, really, and paying attention, really, to what you're seeing.
Is art at all like music? Because I tend to think with music, you have, or even writing, I suppose, you have to master the basics in order to be able to move on. So you can't play freeform jazz until you can do, chord structures and know the notes and all of that sort of stuff. In the same way as you can't write books until you can write sentences and paragraphs and stuff. So there are kind of building blocks.
Definitely there are building blocks, yeah. But I think that when you say about writing, and I think art is like this, sometimes being quite naive as to what's the kind of proper way to do something is actually a really good place to come from. However, you also need an open mind if you're working from that place, not to judge your own work too quickly, because it doesn't look too much like what you would consider to be artwork. So there's that famous Picasso quote about all children being artists, and the challenge when you're an adult is to remain one. And that's relating to the instinctive approach that lots of children have towards creativity and expressing themselves. And I think that most people will be able to get something really quite good down as long as they don't judge themselves too quickly, and they just enjoy the process.
Is there talent out there?
Oh yeah, of course there's talent out there. There's loads and loads.
Do you see
talent.
people who come on your things and you think, God, they're good?
Yeah, all the time. And it's a real shame because many people don't find the time for creativity in their lives, which I think is just a real life-enhancing thing, be it drawing or writing or making music or dancing or, I don't know, making websites. So just,
Sure.
you know, it could be anything. I think the nice thing about painting, though, that is it's so direct and tactile, you know, and you get a tangible
There's
product
nothing really
right in front
between
of
you and the end product, is
exactly, exactly. And you get all that, the pleasure of the colours and the, you know, the feel of the paint, and yeah, it's a direct, tactile thing to do. It gives a lot of pleasure.
Tell us about the Big Painting Challenge.
Well, the Big Painting Challenge, I see it as kind of like a competition program, a little bit like the Great British Bake Off or something.
Or the Sewing Bee.
Or the Sewing Bee, exactly. To find Britain's best amateur painter. So it's, you know, it's a competition program so that someone gets knocked off every week, and they have challenges every week relating to different sort of
landscapes or portraits,
portraits, cityscapes, seascapes, and yeah, they got in contact with me to write the book that accompanies the series, which is for all those people who've been inspired by the program to have a go themselves, to give them a little bit of help with the basics of the materials.
What if you are starting out and you can draw a bit, perhaps? What is it? Best to move on to watercolours first, or is it, because I mean oils have their own particular problems, don't they, or issues?
Yeah. I think watercolours are pretty tricky, actually. I wouldn't start with watercolours myself. Yeah. They're quite unforgiving because they're translucent. You can't really cover your mistakes very well.
Right.
I would advise most people to start probably with acrylic paints because they're opaque. So you can cover, if you make a mistake, you can cover over it with a darker or lighter colour. And that will cover the mistake, as opposed to with watercolours, you won't be able to do that so well. Oils, I think, take a lot of getting used to because you have to mix them with medium. You can't just dilute them with water. So I think they're much trickier, and they take so long to dry as well. They don't really suit me. I work in a very direct, quick, instinctive kind of a way, and I'm quite impatient, so I like things to dry and be able to work on top of them. Otherwise, I find with oils I just make a big kind of soupy, muddy mess.
Sounds like my kind of art.
Yeah. But yeah, acrylics, and also I think charcoal is a very underrated medium that people just love using. You can get really, really great high contrast drawings with charcoal.
Is drawing at the core of all of this?
Drawing is one place to start. Drawing and painting, essentially, the skills are very similar. Once you can understand light and you've learnt to sort of see critically, I suppose, you could be painting or drawing. It doesn't really matter. It's just the type of medium that you're using. But yeah, generally drawing's a very good place to start. I think it's the starting place, really.
We haven't mentioned abstraction at all yet, because I guess we've essentially been talking about figurative art here, haven't we? We've been talking about drawing and painting things. What about people for whom that isn't the aim of what they want to do? Or do you have to start with that?
I don't think you have to start with that.
Can you become Rothko instantly?
I don't know the answer to that question. Can you? I think that most people's route towards abstraction would be through figurative art, you know, at the beginning, because most people start with representing the world around them as it is, and then once you've managed to control that and sort of master that, really, I suppose, then you've got the skills that you need to be able to have the control that you need to have when you're actually making abstract work.
Because there is a massive degree of control and skill, isn't there? I mean, there are people who think, oh, my children could do that. No, they couldn't.
It's a funny thing. I think it takes quite a lot of practice to free up, I think.
Yeah. And
it's, you know, that's one of the things that people have to master when they're working in an abstract way.
Even in a figurative way, is to try and sometimes, you know, you need to be able to do that, don't you?
Yeah, you need to allow yourself that freedom. And most people aren't in the habit of allowing themselves freedom. You know, we are always working towards some kind of goal. There are right answers. It should look like this. And I suppose abstract art is being prepared to make something new, which doesn't look like anything that is recognisably art, you know, necessarily. And that takes courage as well, and belief in your opinions.
I've got very strong belief in my opinions, just no ability to paint. The Big Painting Challenge starts on Sunday the 22nd at 6 o'clock. The book's out now. I believe. Where can people find out more about Sketchout?
www.sketchout.net. It's all on there. You can find out all about the different courses that we do. You can book and buy your places on there, and there's also links to my art website on there and the book and everything.
Rosa Roberts, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.